As Meghan Markle cashed in on Princess Diana's birthday and William's fury went off the scale, it emerged that the late great Queen did not trust Harry's American bride one bit. When he found out that the venal Duchess of Sussex was launching her new range of Chateau Meg rosé wine on July the 1st, on what would have been Di's 64th, the Prince of Wales was incandescent with rage. Wills fumed that picking that particular date to release her thrillingly expensive pink drink was wildly inappropriate. After all, his beloved mother was effectively killed by a boozed-up driver out of his mind on alcohol. William is said to be sick and tired of the weirdness of drawing parallels between Meghan and Diana. And he's freaked out by talk that his brother believes that his wife is somehow the reincarnation of his mother. Meanwhile, unsurprisingly, Harry is significantly less bothered by Meghan's shameless commercialisation of her slim connection to Diana. Partly because in his bedazzled eyes, the manipulative Miss Markle can do no wrong. But also because after more than a quarter of a century, the dim Duke still insists it was the Paris paparazzi who did for Di, which is nonsense. But on Planet Harry, his all-consuming hatred of the press has completely rewritten history. Talking of history, what can now be revealed is the astonishing truth about what Queen Elizabeth really thought of her grandson's fiancée, and her devastating verdict was one of regal disdain and profound suspicion. She regarded Meghan as a schemer who wasn't in love with Harry, but was wrapping him around her little finger, preparing to exploit his royal status for all she was worth. Subsequent events would appear to confirm that Her Majesty's astute observation was bang on the money. But how has this incendiary information come to light nearly 3 years after her sad death? This sensational tale is now being told thanks to royal biographer Sally Bedell-Smith and her conversations with the Queen's cousin, confidant and best friend, Lady Elizabeth Anson. Relaying what she and the Sovereign had discussed about the actress who stole Harry's heart, Lady Anson declared, "We hope, but don't quite think she is in love. We think she engineered it all. The problem, bless his heart, is that Harry is neither bright nor strong, and she is both." Well, strong anyway. I've always reckoned that although Meghan is undoubtedly cleverer than Harry, so is my dog. So being brighter than the intellectually challenged Duke doesn't exactly make Meghan the new Einstein. That said, Lady Anson and the Queen saw straight through the wily woman from Hollywood who artfully schemed her way into a starring role in the British royal family. According to the highly respected Bedell-Smith, renowned for her cautious and restrained biographies, Harry and Meghan's 2018 marriage left the Queen distraught. She was deeply upset that Meghan wouldn't tell her about her wedding dress and stunned when Harry was unconscionably rude to her for a solid 10 minutes. The worried monarch also noted that relations between Meghan and Kate were so calamitous that their feud was taking a terminal toll on Harry's closeness to William. Then the fairy tale wedding. And they all lived unhappily ever after. Lady Elizabeth Anson died aged 79 in 2020, but not before she confided the Queen's darkest fears. Meanwhile, back to the Tin Pot tycoon Duchess and her relentless cashing in. And it's wine time. Yes, for a minimum of 3 bottles at a wallet-busting $90 plus $20 shipping, you too can savour the delights of the latest in a ludicrously long list of celebrity rosés. Brad Pitt, John Bon Jovi, Kylie Minogue, Sarah Jessica Parker, Dolly Parton, and so many more are already old hands at the fame game wine trade. Originality never was Meghan's strong suit. But will Jane and Joe Public really lay out $110, 80 British pounds for the Duchess's plonk? You decide. It goes without saying, of course, that demand has been so extraordinary that supplies of Chateau Meg swiftly dried up. As with all of her unremarkable produce, she's sold out. So what's new? Same old, same old. As a business model, nothing ever being available seems to me to leave a lot to be desired. But there's one more niggling problem. Exactly what is all this stuff the newly renamed Meghan Markle is flogging us at astronomical prices? Is it homemade? Is it hell? Is it craft-produced? Is it hell? It's mass-produced. So if you want to pay through the nose for factory-made scam jam, those ridiculous dried flowers her ladyship is so obsessed with, and lashings of unfine wine, go right ahead. Me, I think I'll take a pass. Cheers. It is ridiculous, isn't it, the prices she's charging?
I mean, it's mad. I was actually looking at a review that someone posted online, and they were almost trying to justify to themselves why they just spent $27 on a jar of honey. And they were like, oh, it's very thin, but must mean that it's more expensive, more high cost. I'm like, you just keep lying to yourself, little man. Yeah. Honestly, it's really weird, this sycophantic way that Meghan goes about laying down the release dates, you know, very, very horrific stuff that she put it on the same date of Diana's birthday.
Yeah, William's furious about that. We're hearing that from the serious sources that he really, really hit the roof over it.
I don't blame him. I mean, it's an absolute trashing of that woman's legacy. The fact that it's come down to a bottle of cheap rosé wine being shifted on her birthday. I mean, it's really a fall from grace, and it's all thanks to Meghan constantly cheapening the Sussex royal brand.
She always does it on a date like that's significant, whatever she does, doesn't she? She's sort of niggling at them. And the reason she has justified why...
niggling, that's it, yeah.
She's justified why you want 3 bottles. She said that will make you happy if you have all the 3 bottles rather than the one.
Maybe her, because she's
a bit depressed if you have one.
You know.
No, make you depressed because you've spent so much on the 3. I mean, it'll be very average. In itself, it's $30 a bottle, 25 quid, 27 quid. That's a lot of money for a bottle of rosé. As I said last week, a good old Dolly Parton's rosé wine is £7 in Britain, about $10. That's about the price range.
And she brews it in her back shed.
And if you look at all the other... No, well, she doesn't. Dolly might do.
Yeah,
but,
Dolly, yeah.
Well, she won't, actually. None of these people do that. They just put their name on it. But, I mean, £7, $10, that's a very reasonable price. $30? Forget about it. Yeah. Anyway, here is Her Majesty, Her Montecito Majesty, talking about her original product, that scam jam.
Truth be told, I had just been making a lot of jams and preserves at home and sharing them as holiday gifts with a lot of friends. And it was one morning, beginning of the new year, so many friends at the same time had texted saying, I don't know what it is, but your jams just make me so happy. And I thought, maybe that's the thing, because I do believe it was probably more obvious to a lot of people that I would get into fashion.
No, it was not obvious.
Why is she so sort of, ridiculously annoying? I mean, the jam makes you happy. Jam doesn't make you happy, particularly your jam, which isn't even jam. We've got some YouTube comments, haven't we, about Meghan?
Yeah, we do. We had a lot this week, last week. Alstranina says Meghan didn't have her father to her own wedding, but she invited a load of stars she'd never even met. The Bezoses aren't that crass, apparently. That's almost got 1,000 likes.
Well, I seem to remember that George Clooney and his wife Amel, turned up.
Iconic.
And George sort of confided that he wasn't quite sure why he was there.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we know why he was there, don't we, Ash? He was there because it makes the wedding look sort of flash.
Exactly, that's why they're all there.
Star-studded.
You actually can get people who will bring, like, I think Bianca Jagger, Jay Jagger has celebrity friends, and you can sort of hire them and they'll all come, Kate Moss to your party and look like they're your real
To a royal
friend.
wedding? I mean, when you
can hire Jay Jagger. How much does that cost? About $3?
It shows what a sidestabber she is, that she wouldn't even invite her own sister, but she would invite a bunch of randoms that she's never met. I mean, that's the type of woman she is.
Have you got another comment?
Damn V says...
Damn V.
Yeah, Damn V says,
Damn V.
A mum who has genuinely been pregnant knows a bump doesn't bounce independently off the body. She's not pregnant, and I am no troll.
Yeah, look, I mean, we discussed this last week. I can't get over the fact that baby bump, that when she did that twerking, it doesn't look real. I mean, you know, I'm not trying to fuel the conspiracy theories. Yes, I am. No, I'm not. I'm seriously not. It's just that bump looked weird. We need also to discuss that very important other element of my monologue, which is the truth coming out about what the Queen really thought about Meghan. Now, we were beginning to think that the public were going to, hang on, who is this woman? She seems to be getting her claws into Harry rather fast, with indecent haste. Yeah. And now we know that behind closed doors, the Queen had her number. I mean, she was very, very suspicious about this woman.
I mean, the Queen was always famous for her intuition and the fact that she could spot whatever someone's sort of intentions were very early on. And I think with Meghan, that is what it was. I mean, there are no nice things that the Queen has said that have ever kind of slipped out about Meghan, only bad things. And I think that that's a conscious choice.
I think the thing is, Ash, that the Queen at that stage has been on this planet a long time. And with certain exceptions, like people like me, age brings wisdom. And she was a very wise woman. And also, she knew that you have to be very careful about the people who are marrying into the royal family, because if you get the wrong type, they're using the royal family for their own purposes. She spotted that in Meghan.
I think she was born wise, the Queen. I think she just had it in her. But I mean, you know, maybe she learnt from the Diana thing. She was a bit wary of that, and then they thought, mate, this is where this is going. But all the people around, like you said, we all realise what she was doing. But of course, she's gaslighting Harry. So that's why Katie, they was crying in tears, and all her PR people. Yet she's just giving Harry a load of waffle, and he's falling for it.
Well, she was very pretty. Well, the Queen.
I love the line. Sorry to interrupt. I love the line from Lady Anson, Elizabeth Anson, saying,
"Yes."
Was about saying. Poor Harry, you know, he's neither bright nor neither bright nor
oh my gosh, I was
neither bright nor strong.
Yes.
Neither bright nor strong, and she's both. As I said, I don't think she is that
that's
bright.
true.
I really don't.
Well,
and I'll tell you
compared to
this.
him,
I'll tell you this. I say this everywhere. I do not believe that, as ever, this business has got a chance in hell of working, of succeeding, you know. And how much longer? How many other businesses have you come across, Samara, that are based on the fact that nothing is ever available?
I mean, other than like extremely successful tech companies maybe, or designer bags, there's no other company that doesn't have their books in order like that. And she continues to spin us along. Oh, one drop randomly here, another there. No, we're not falling for your disorganization. It's because there's absolute mayhem going on behind the scenes. That's what's really going on.
It's getting really tired and old, isn't it? Her saying, oh, I've just launched this, it's absolutely sold out. Well, get enough, for God's sake.
What's going to be next? You know, she's just chucking enough mud and, you know, and hoping some will stick. I mean, it worked for David Bowie. He did a load of rubbish, and then he did a great tune, and that launched it. Maybe she will.
David Bowie?
Yeah, with his music, he made a song about chipmunks, and he was David, and then suddenly...
She's no David
Ziggy
Bowie.
Stardust.
That's a very weird analogy.
She's no David Bowie.
David Bowie Jam.
She's like the new David Bowie.
Was there David Bowie Jam?
Yeah, David Bowie. Now, I'd have some
David
of that.
Bowie dried flowers.
David Bowie cigarettes.
It goes back to what Tina Brown actually said, which is that Harry would have been impressed by anyone that could make a dinner reservation, because he really wasn't living in the real world. So when you characterise her as someone who's strong and smart, or, you you know.
But she's played a blinder, though, hasn't she? She's done well for herself.
Well, we don't know. We don't know. I mean,
has she?
Her plan per se is working out. But we don't know how well this business is. She always had in mind, obviously, to exploit her kind of semi-royal status by trying to make some money out of it. And that's what's going on now. I just don't think she is making any money. Do you?
I don't think she is, and I actually don't even think there is a plan, because the big revealing thing about that recent podcast that she went on with Emma Grede, I know we always reference it, but it was that she was stumbling and fumbling through everything. She clearly had no idea what she was talking about, because it was a purely business podcast. All she can talk about is her victimization of when she was in the royal family. That's it.
Eventually, it'll just be a titles that are left because that's all she can do to sell herself, and she's not allowed to use them, is she? But they'll just end up going to
what do you mean?
dinners.
She is using
I know,
them.
but they're not meant to be, are they?
But everybody knew that she would just ignore that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that she often styles herself HRH, and
She does.
specifically not allowed.
Told not
she is
to.
not HRH.
So she's totally lying. And
there's a big row about
doesn't
whether
care.
or not the kids should be, and William will almost certainly strip the kids of HRH. I think he's had enough of Meghan. He might take her title away. Oh, God, that's going to be a great day, isn't it?
Well, she took his brother away, really, didn't she?
Yeah,
That's
more
very
YouTube
true.
comments?
Yes, there was actually one about, Kookaburra has said, the grifting of the Markles must come to an end now. They must be stripped of their royal titles immediately. And that's got 700 likes, so it means clearly there's a lot of public support for this. So William will probably do it because he likes to listen to them.
Well, let us know, on YouTube or the messages next week. Let us know what you think about this. I personally, and I think Ash and Samara agree, I think the way she's behaving, never mind the kids, obviously don't give them. HRH is ridiculous for a couple of American West Coast kids. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Harry has this idea that when they're 18, they can choose whether or not they can be frontline royals. Well, I can tell them right now, you're not going to have that choice. William will take that choice away from you. Another comment?
Archie and Lily should have their titles removed, along with them being in the line of succession until Meghan and Harry provide irrefutable evidence that Meghan gave birth to them and they actually exist. But it's a great point.
But that's a legal thing, yeah.
They have to come from her womb in order to deserve those, and I think that's why there's a lot of people that
that is a good point. The royal lineage and all that has to be proved.
Isn't the Archbishop of Canterbury meant to actually witness the birth? Isn't it something like that?
Yeah. That royal lineage has to be sort of technically proved.
It's legal. It's legalised.
That could be interesting. I mean, the policy of this programme is that Harry and Meghan don't have any children. That's the what just happened policy. But I'm open to discussion about this. But seriously, though, it's an interesting issue, isn't it? And again, I'm going back to that baby bump in the twerk. That doesn't necessarily mean that she wasn't ever pregnant, but that doesn't look like a baby bump. It looks like a sort of double-decker bus or something.
And if it was a baby, it would be concussed having all that. Imagine that, you're just chilling out and suddenly...
The amount of pregnant women in this comment section that I was reading, it's not true.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been pregnant yet, but women who have, nearly every single one of them, has told me, well, that just doesn't look right.
And you can't twerk as well.
But I seriously would not put it past her. Maybe she's given birth. Now let's do the twerking video. I wouldn't put it past her.
Very LA.
Very scheming, and 4 years later she foists it upon us. Really wish she hadn't have done. Anyway, time for a bad ad.
How are all marriages in divorce?
Because they're not eating.
I love that.
Don't get a divorce. Well, they haven't explained how a donut can prevent divorce.
If you can find that donut joint, good luck. Let's go to a real break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to What Just Happened. This is part 2, and this is when we do the big moment. We're going to start now with not just a big moment, an enormous moment. Glastonbury, never been in my life, don't intend to. But this last Glastonbury over the last weekend, I had a starring role, and here I am.
Kneecap.
Kneecap?
Kneecap. Kneecap is pretty disgusting.
A band I've never even heard of.
They'll never make anything of their lives.
Yeah, that was a head of Kneecaps performance, right? So this was the big build-up. It was after that other useless band, Bob Vylan, did their Death to the IDF. So Bob Vylan always backed Kneecap out. Kneecap are this sort of Northern Irish rap trio who think they're counterculture, and they're all very pro-Palestine. Anyway, they made a film which they played to the audience in the
montage
in the build-up to the exciting build-up to Kneecap's set. Anyway, there was me. I was in the film. I was one of the media fascists.
Performing with Kneecap, Kev.
Yeah, I know.
Incredible on the main stage.
So
Fantastic.
my
Well, not
nephew,
really.
my nephew, who's not that young, but he was there.
Yeah.
And he was in an altered state, I think. But he was waiting. He was waiting.
Is that another band?
No. It was the state he was in. He was waiting. He was lying there waiting for Kneecap. And he suddenly saw his uncle up on the screen.
Is he he's having a bad trip or something on this alternative lifestyle? He's been having?
It was a bit like
Uncle
that.
Kev. Yeah. What's Uncle Kev doing up there?
Yeah.
What's
What
going
the
on?
hell's going on? What the hell's going on?
If you're American, don't even bother to research who the hell Bob Vylan is, because he won't be coming to your town anytime soon. He's had his visa revoked, rightly so.
Yeah. So Glastonbury full of controversy, but I'm glad to have played my part, a starring role at Glastonbury. Fame at last. Now let's go to the much smaller moment, but still the moment we've chosen as the big story of the week. And I don't think there are any challenges to this one. It is Donald Trump's Alligator Alcatraz prison. Take it away.
The snakes are fast, but alligators, we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison. How to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%, okay? Not a good thing.
He loves it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So excited about Alligator Alcatraz, which is a prison for 3,000 migrants in the middle of the Everglades, which is which is a mosquito-strewn swamp. It will be very, and it's to say it is humid there is the understatement of the year. There's so many mosquitoes in there you can barely see. So that is not going to be a nice place, and it will be surrounded by this swamp, which is full of alligators. So maybe remember that Roger Moore James Bond film when he escaped from his plight by running across the back of the
along the alligator.
Yeah, you remember
they were real. They were real alligators.
I think that what was that man with the golden gun? I think.
Was it?
I think so.
But
yeah.
We haven't got any dangerous animals in this country to do that sort of thing. They're lucky in America. Lots of other countries have it was sharks around Alcatraz.
Look, there we are. See,
we need to import a few of them.
Look, these are some prisoners escaping.
Forms of transport as well.
Yeah.
That's the Everglades for you.
That's fantastic. Look at that.
But I'll tell you,
They're
the Everglades, it's so steamy, it's almost like being underwater. And the mosquitoes are just ridiculous. I mean, you can't see in front of you.
And then you get eaten.
And then you get bitten like you've never been before.
Better to stay
Alligator Alcatraz, there's the poster. It's going to be quite a movie. So no one, that's a moot point. No one ever did officially escape from Alcatraz, although they think
there was that movie.
And apparently that was based on a real story.
Was that Clint Eastwood?
Well, it was based on the story that this guy or three guys did escape and they were never heard of again.
Yeah.
So the sort of urban myth was that they made it. And in the film, if you remember, the last scene, Patrick McGee, I think, played the prison governor.
Was that it? Yeah.
And the last scene is him. He's going, no, they'd have died. They died in the water. Nobody can get across those seas. And he opens his mail. And there's a postcard from the three prisoners.
Wish you were here.
Saying, wish you were here.
But if Donald Trump did that, he's sort of fair play to him, because if they did escape, he'd say, well, I'll grant them a pardon if you can get past the alligators. He's that sort of guy.
Yeah, that's right. If you can beat the alligators, you get a free pass.
Yeah.
Right, well, we're going to have a new element now.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We got a bit serious last week. We can't have that. On this show.
Hard hitting.
So it's to do with you. It's because you're so serious.
I know. I am very serious.
Serious-minded. You need to be light and try.
I'm trying to be light like you lot. Yeah.
Samara and I don't have
look at that lightness.
Samara and I don't have a serious thought in our heads.
No, that's all my mind is. Heavyweight political.
We need to bring you down from your intellectual high plane. So this is my small moment. We've had quite a week here, folks, if you're watching in America or Australia or Canada, around the world. Here in little old Britain, we've had quite a week.
Howdy doody and good day.
Yeah, well, first of all, we've got the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, robot Keir, smash the gang, smash the gang. He's the darling, he's an absolutely useless idiot. Anyway, here he is. He's very light on his feet. Here he is. Look at that. Coming
Is that
up.
a euphemism?
Can't even get out. Look at that. He can't even get out of number
Joe
10
Biden
down.
again.
Look at that. Trips over. Can't even get out of his house.
He's meant to be a footballer.
The
He says he plays
timing of
football.
that was fantastic because a reporter was just shouting at him, "Another U-turn, Starmer," and then he just falls over.
Dear.
It's just
Dear.
The most sensational small moment, actually it's not even small, it's off the scale, is, I mean, this is our Chancellor of the Exchequer. This is the woman, the person, the high-up politician who's in charge of the British economy. Now, the British economy, I think it's fair to say, isn't doing that well. In fact, it's a catastrophe. So she's absolute crap at her job. She's under enormous pressure. So she turned up at what we call Prime Minister's Question Time, which happens every Wednesday. Now, this week, it was extraordinary. So there's Keir Starmer going, no, it's been a fantastic year. It's been a year of disaster because July the 4th, Independence Day for the Americans, for us, Disaster Day, 1 year of Labour. He's coming up to that, so he's talking about what a triumph is. And have a look at the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rachel Reeves, behind him. Look at, she is bawling her eyes out. She's sobbing. Tears are rolling down her cheek.
Yeah.
Look at the state of her. Suitcases under her eyes. And the government are trying to say, oh, well, what it was she's had a personal matter, some private anguish. That we are calling out as a barefaced lie. What's happened is the economy has completely crashed. She needed to make at least £5 billion savings, about, $8 billion or something, savings on our grotesque £300 billion a year welfare bill, our benefits bill. The left-wingers in the Labour Party, the government's left-wingers, forced them to climb down to the extent that instead of making any savings, we are now adding £100 billion to our massive welfare bill, which means the economy will crash. She has only one way to save Britain from bankruptcy, and that is to break her promise to British citizens and to tax us even more. We've had about 15 tax rises in the last year or so, and they're going to get worse and worse and worse. She's going to have to tax us. She knows she's going to break her promises. She knows she's in deep trouble, and she burst into tears. That's not good enough. Look, I felt sorry for her on a human level. She was a broken woman. But the markets took one look at our Chancellor of the Exchequer sobbing, and the pound crashed, the stock market crashed, and the bond market crashed. It was directly related to the Chancellor of the Exchequer crying. So next time it all gets too much for you, Rach, and you burst into tears or you feel like crying, just don't go to Prime Minister's Question Times. You tanked the economy because you sobbed. Unbelievable.
But it was 5 billion, which wouldn't even really touch the side. We pay 100 billion just in interest on our debt. 5 billion is just the cost of the illegal migrants, you know what I mean?
We've had farmers on your show that this farmer's son, his dad killed himself because of Rachel Reeves's tax
Was she crying
policies.
then?
So was she crying then? No. I mean, any other kind of position, I'd be like, okay. But, we're not in a place in this country at the moment where we can look weak on the world stage, and this looks weak. Go and excuse yourself. Go to the bathroom. Sob your eyes out. But don't do it so publicly.
But apparently
it's horrible for us.
Just to be hard-hitting and serious, the markets dropped because they were worried she was going to get fired because actually they apparently like her.
No, I just told you. It's not that. It's not that. The markets were already going down.
And then she cried. It dropped.
Because they thought that she was going to resign. And then everybody, the world saw her crying. And so if the graph was going like this, They saw her crying, it went like that.
But when she came out...
Her tears crashed the British economy.
But when she came out the next day looking like Liberace with all the makeup, like I'm a new woman, the market's like that, and they went up. So I think they've got her in their pocket, sort of
she
thing.
Looks
they like what they know.
The day after, folks, they wheeled her out to say, no, nothing wrong, nothing wrong. And she had so much makeup on, she looked like Coco the Clown.
How stupid do they think we are?
I mean, they're
like,
playing us for fools, saying it's a personal issue, private anguish. No, it's not. No. It's because she's in deep trouble. She's a useless Chancellor, and it's all getting too much for her. We need to get rid of her. We need to get rid of this government. But we are stuck with them. Time for a bad ad.
Time to make the donuts. Introducing a big idea from a giant in the business, the world's smallest donuts. Ta-da! In new Dunkin' Donuts cereal, you get delicious, crunchy little donuts by the hundreds. All your favorite donut shapes, rings, holes, and twists. You can choose rich chocolate or glazed donut flavors, or both as part of a nutritious breakfast. Dunkin' Donuts cereal, crunchy little donuts, great big taste.
Fantastic. It's very healthy breakfast. Healthy breakfast.
I love that. I want to
Do you eat Dunkin' Donut breakfasts?
Dunkin'
Donut
there's
cereal.
a version of that, like a British version that I do indulge in.
Go on, what's it called then?
Can I say?
Yeah, go on.
It's called like Cinnamon Crunch or something?
Cinnamon Crunch? That sounds horribly healthy.
It was banned, so
when I was a kid, we used to eat Sugar Puffs every morning.
Well, it was only about 3 cereals, wasn't it?
You might as well have just got like a mountain of sugar and
it
just
was either cornflakes or Frosties. I went to America as a kid in the 70s and sort of discovered Cheerios and all these other weird things. We used to bring them back, but, it would have been best leaving them out there. But have you ever had grape nuts?
Yeah, I've had grape nuts. They're very filling.
Very filling and good for you.
Filling.
The old style stuff.
I'll tell you what.
Grape nuts.
I've got a question, sort of moving on slightly, but American food, which I love mainly. Americans out there, send us some texts or messages or YouTube messages. Could you explain to me grits?
Oh, yeah.
Grits. Yeah. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like grey sludge. With great respect to lovely American dishes all over the land there, what are grits all about? Please explain that to me. And on that inquisitive bombshell, let's go to a real break. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back to part 3 of What Just Happened. I'm still with Flash Ash and, of course, Samara Gill. What a team, the dynamic duo. And this is your section. It's viewers' questions where we try to answer some of your queries. You got the first one, I think, Samara.
Yes, sales at Jaguar have dropped 97% since its woke rebrand. Does this prove if you go woke, you go broke?
Well, in a word, yes. For our American viewers, it's Jaguar. Jaguar, our famous old car brand. They make great cars, or at least they did. Around about a year ago, maybe slightly less, they hired one of these rebranders who basically decided. So the kind of people who bought fabulous cars, Jaguars, the kind of people who bought them kind of tend to be wealthy, middle-aged, they want a bit of style, they want comfort, their sports cars are great, So wealthy, well-heeled, middle-class people, that kind of thing. But traditional people. So this is what the rebrand came up with. Yeah. Look, the kind of people who buy Jaguars aren't going to buy into this claptrap. Look at it.
None of them look like that.
Look at it.
Definitely don't.
It's just ridiculous.
I mean,
is that Tilda Swinton?
Great customer relationship.
Absolutely ridiculous. So, do you remember Bud Light?
Yeah, Dylan Mulvaney.
It's exactly the same story.
Yeah.
Bud Light decided, we don't like all these good old boys and these working class blue collar people who drink our beer. Let's get all groovy. Let's hire Dylan Mulvaney, the trans guy, and rebrand. And sales went down like that. Yeah. And they had to completely rebrand very, very quickly because Anheuser-Busch, the big company who make Bud Light, were going broke. And they had to come out with an advert, which is good old boys going, yeah, you can't beat this.
Do you remember Gillette
sitting on the veranda?
Yeah.
The Gillette did the same, didn't they? Because they were basically going, it's basically slagging off your customer base, your bigots, your sexist you men, and so no one was buying their razor. And Jaguar have basically said, our customers, we hate them. They're all racist and bigots. Let's just give it to people with hairs
The common
chopped out of them.
denominator, though, are these woke marketing officers that they hire. So Bud Light, she was from Harvard. She was all groovy and like, oh, I'm going to revolutionize the brand. So, yeah.
Also point, she was fired.
Yes.
I'd imagine the brand guy at Jaguar, put it this way, I would say his future's on the line. But go woke, you go broke. I think this is in about a year. It might be less than a year. 97% down on
And they went all electric. People who drive Jags want a motor car, proper motor car. And they got rid of the Jaguar symbol and put a J in it.
But the designs were hideous.
Yeah.
Hideous.
And in pink. And they had to use a diesel generator at the promo of it to charge up the electric.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think Jaguar.
Jaguar.
I mean, that's not that some women don't like them, but I think they're a kind of a bloke's car.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you ever had one, Kev?
I've never had a Jaguar. I've had a BMW. That's not a British car, is it?
Yeah.
What have I got now? I've got a Mini.
Another BMW, really?
Which is also BMW. Don't buy British, they're rubbish. He said unpatriotically. Yeah. So Jaguar, all but 3% of their sales have gone. Why are these companies so stupid? Know who your customers are and serve them. It's not rocket science.
I mean, look at their clothes.
It was meant for older men, their retirement car. They've had a good career. They're going to buy a Jaguar. I mean, that's what it was for.
They look like they're in padded cells.
By the way, look at this advert. These are the commercials that kind of signal.
Like one flew over the cuckoo's
signal
nest.
the rebrand. What is the elephant not in the room?
Yeah,
There's
no car.
Yeah.
But then when we saw the designs for the cars, they were all boxy and
like
vile.
a tampon.
Can you imagine the executive selling the advert going, oh, this is great because we're not actually showing the car.
It's time
brilliant. And we're slagging off the customer base. That's brilliant.
It's time we broke free from our fuddy-duddy traditional image and entered the modern age. No, mate. Big mistake. I bet your old brand boy has gone by now. Unbelievable. Next question.
The Bank of England is dropping historical figures from its banknotes in a push to reflect diversity. Which woke stars would you like to see on the banknote?
Well, I can answer that pretty easily. None whatsoever. This is ridiculous. So we're losing people like Winston Churchill, the great artist Turner, loads and loads of historical figures, the Duke of Wellington and so on and so forth. These are on our banknotes. Traditional figures from British history. The Bank of England, they're calling it the Bank of Woke. They want to replace these revered figures, these revered characters from history, our most important people of this land. They want to replace it with images that reflect ethnicity, gender, and diversity. You see, the question here is, which stars would you like to... Woke stars. Well, they're not going to... I don't think it'll be woke stars. It'll just be pictures of...
woke events.
Yeah.
What about Greta Thunberg taking a sandwich off the IDF?
Yeah, Greta Thunberg, maybe.
That'll be good. You know,
what about Kneecap, maybe? Bob
Let's have
Vylan.
Kneecap on the
bit of Kneecap,
Yeah, Bob Vylan.
Rainbow notes.
What about me?
Colours.
What about me?
Yeah, Kevin, of course, a woke hero.
I think so. Right, let's move on to the next question. This is from our friend Candace Owens. We love Candace.
Oh, yeah,
so Candace is saying that the moon landings were faked. What do you think, Kevin?
It's that Capricorn 1, isn't it? Isn't that a book by...
there was the film, wasn't there? Kubrick. They said Kubrick.
It's called Capricorn 1. It was based on a book.
Right.
And that was that the moon landing in 1969 was actually filmed at a studio in Arizona. Right. And like all these conspiracy theories, it prospers to this day. Certainly, with all due respect to that fabulous mission to get man on the moon and Neil Armstrong and that amazing words. By the way, he screwed up what he said, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
He was supposed to say, this is one small step for a man, but one giant leap for mankind. But he said, this is one small step for man.
Yeah.
So he missed out the A. So he kind of screwed it up. But it was a kind of iconic...
It was more rhythmical, wasn't it?
It was an iconic statement, an iconic declaration. Man has landed on the moon. And as I say, great respect to the States for doing that, and to Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, all that lot. But... you know, when you look back on it, what was it for? I mean, I can't believe how much space travel hasn't advanced.
When you look at the amount of lies that the US government has told its citizens over the years, that's why people kind of do start to question this stuff. I mean, I went to all the centres, I went to space camp, I enjoyed myself, but it's very PR spin. That's
I've been to Area 51, just outside Vegas.
I also went.
Where they say, you know, they've got all these bars there that are all based around all these aliens that are supposed to live there. In fact, we found out only last week, I believe, that the Area 51 alien myth was created by the Pentagon. Because they wanted to
cover up
to cover up what was really going on there. They were building weapons,
black ops, and all that sort of stuff,
and military equipment.
And you wonder why people start to question the moon landing.
I saw one of those stealth bombers take off from there once.
Oh, really? Amazing.
They're a sight to see.
They are incredible.
A sight to see.
Apparently, his last words on the moon, he did have a few more words. He said, "And good luck tonight, Mr. Goldberg." And apparently, he used to hear the couple next door arguing when he was a kid, saying, "I'll give you a..." You'll have to bleep this out. "I'll give you a..." when the kid next door sets foot on the moon.
We're not that kind of show. We don't use that sort of language.
Well, my partner's grandfather actually was on the other side, the Russian side, trying to send people to space.
Well, I used to have Yuri Gagarin's autograph. Yuri Gagarin was the first man in space. 1960, I believe.
That's right, Russian.
Yuri Gagarin. I had his autograph.
Wow.
My dad used to work at the docks in Dover, and he was coming in through. No, it's the airport. Oh, sorry, it was the airport.
What do you mean you had it? Where is it now?
Somewhere. Heathrow Airport, and he said to me, "Yuri Gagarin's coming through."
Oh my God!
Wow, so, I've got Yuri Geller's autograph.
So I went up to him and said, "Can I have your autograph?"
There you go.
Buzz Aldrin
I thought this isn't an autograph because it was in Russian.
Work
it out.
Buzz Aldrin punched a bloke who asked him if it was fake, so they do get very passionate about it. So.
Well, you would, wouldn't you, if you'd been in the moon? But anyway, if Candace Owens thinks it was fake, that's good enough for me. I've got a lot of time for Candace, I mean that. Right, let's go to a bad ad.
If you want to win the game, you gotta take good aim and get the most marbles with your hippo. Playing Hungry, Hungry Hippos. Hungry, Hungry Hippos.
Hungry, Hungry Hippos is the name of the game, and whoever hippo gets the most marbles wins.
Playing Hungry, Hungry Hippos. Hungry, Hungry Hippos.
I win!
Hungry, Hungry Hippos, new from Hasbro.
Seconds of engrossing entertainment.
There was no skill to that, I remember that. No skill, you just did that, and it was pointless.
That looks like the kind of game that kids would get very bored with very quickly.
Yeah,
now you have the iPad.
But it looks challenging to me, though. I'm going to give it a go. Right, let's go to some real ads. What just happened?
He's mad as hell. It's Kevin O'Sullivan.
Welcome back. This is the final part of this edition of What Just Happened. And of course, this is the complaints department, where we go through some of the messages, the thousands of messages that you're kind enough to send us, and read a few out. Some of them are complimentary, some of them are not. Let's find out what the first one's going to be like with Samara.
Julie Johnstone says, Kevin is a media man who is toxic.
Oh,
wow.
What's her name again?
Julie.
Julie, you noticed.
That's because of his hair product.
Very toxic. Toxic Ash, what do you got?
Kevin, when you impersonate someone and screw up your face, it really makes me laugh. It makes my day, and Samara's sitting like a rose between two thorns.
Yeah, I've said that before in pictures. I put that.
She always looks forward to the programmes. Big hugs to you all from Norway.
Oh, Norway, yes,
yeah.
Norway.
Cool.
Brilliant. I'll screw up my. Want to go like that?
She'll love it. She'll be loving that.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like Keir Starmer. Yeah. Smash the gang, smash the gang.
If you did it like that, it might do something.
Go on, Samara.
Juliet Matt Barker says, Kevin definitely is a bit of a wordsmith and his monologues are always witty and quite hilarious. If only he'd let other people speak and stop interrupting. He comes across a bit too hyperactive.
I do. I'm hyperactive. That's true. That's true. Right. Well, you know, in terms of, I interrupt people when they get boring. Oh, no, actually, that's not true. I interrupt people when I think I want to hear the sound of my own voice. That's why I do that, because I'm an egomaniac. Go on, Ash.
Brilliant show, Kevin, as always, telling all of us issues exactly as they are. Samara looks great in red, and Ash is also doing a great job. Well done, all.
Samara looks great in red.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's
not this week.
It's just you're telling.
Looking good in black, though. Looking very good in black. And Ash looking incredibly debonair once again. So next comment, please.
Mr. A. Bene says, Kevin, please do not call the phantom child Lilybeth. Lilybeth.
Don't call the child Lilybeth.
Beth.
Well, I don't quite get that.
What's the phantom
I think
child?
the name is controversial and extremely upsetting for the Queen. Remember, she was furious with that.
Yeah.
That still absolutely rankles with me. The most extraordinary thing of them to do, to steal the Queen's childhood nickname and then name their daughter after that, for that, without even asking the Queen. Because remember, the Queen apparently said to friends, look, she actually said at a dinner do among friends, she said, look, people think that I'm massively rich and I own all these palaces. She said, I don't. Yeah, and all this art and these, you know. She said, I don't really. I kind of look after from the state. So she said, in terms of possessions, I haven't got very much at all. One of the few things I had to call my own was my childhood nickname. And now they've stolen that. It's a really sad story.
It was when she was a toddler, she couldn't say her own name, so she actually invented it, Lilybet, when she couldn't say Elizabeth. As a...
Diana as well, though. They included Diana. It's the most sickly name I've ever heard.
Anyway. Exactly, yeah. Go on, Ash.
Yay, Kevin. I'm doing the actions. Yay, Kevin. So entertaining to listen to and always spot on. 9 p.m, Saturday night here in New Zealand. P.S. Yeah, Meghan, everyone wants your flower sprinkles. Not.
Who's that from?
That is from Hell Sprite 67.
Hell Sprite 67, all the way over in New Zealand. Well, put the word around. Love New Zealand, love the Kiwis. So good to hear from you, and thank you very much for your kind words. Samara.
Margaret Malloy says, great show. Please keep Ash on. Great team. Oh, that's so sweet.
Well,
thanks, Mum.
Unfortunately, we're actually stuck with it, so don't worry about that. Ash.
Great show. I love the chemistry between the three of you. Keep Ash's humour is so deadpan. Samara adds a bit of intelligence. It's a bit like the Meghan and Harry dynamic. And class and Kev's sharp wit and honesty has me in stitches. Well, it's good you think it's honesty, but it's clever, Harry.
It might be dishonesty, but no, I think I'm a pretty honest guy. I tell it like it is, which is why I get in so much trouble all the time. I must learn not to tell it like it is. But you're right about Samara. She brings intelligence to the show. Because the two guys are just morons.
Yeah, well,
go on, Samara.
Karine says, so glad Simon is no longer on your show. Oh my God, we're still discussing that.
Poor Simon. Simon London, the simple Simon. We do miss him.
Not.
No, it was great while he lasted, but... all good things must pass, and it's great to have Ash on board. What you got next?
And bad things as well. Sheila Stahl, their fake kids can't show faces. This is Meghan and Harry's kids because they are not the same each time. So they're sort of a bunch of actors. They never grow, and their hair colour changes. So does the view we get to see. Yeah, it's like the Harry Potter. They've got about 8 kids that play these
different
these
kids
roles.
playing the role of their kids. The pictures that we do see of the back of the head and that, I mean, if it is their kids, really ginger. I mean, massively ginger, like orange. No one wants that. Let's go to a final bad ad.
Be a winner at the game of life. Find a job. Have money, baby. Get married. Have a baby. Take a chance. Find romance. All your dreams may come true. Be a winner. Be a winner at the game of life.
Game of life. I've been playing it all my life, and I've yet to win. And on that depressing bombshell, a big thank you to Flash Ashby.
Thanks, man.
He'll be back next week, and always the brilliant Samara Gill. I've been mediocre. You've been a fantastic audience, and we'll be back next week for more of the same. So we'll see you next week for the next edition of What Just Happened. You better be there.